Yeah. Oh, yeah, Polonius. Oh. Oh, that's. Then when are you done? So you're gonna be done. You're done. Yeah, they- So, Josh. Okay. I know you introduced me. Oh. Well, but she's also like. And why do that? I really love to get here to the middle. I love it that. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I think more in the middle because Forrest will be doing remotely and Bob is not doing that. Oh, okay. So the only ones I'm moderately sure of are you, Scott, and maybe you, and Eric will be putting. Okay, yeah, you need to get this. Yeah,
Damn, what's going on or something.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool to do. I'm on the jig.
It's just not the same when you have about the dog.
Well, I did have dog pedicures and nail body extraction. It's called today. So that's kind of important.
Yeah, yeah. Why we did that. Oh, gosh, I love my friends do their own. You can do it at home.
Yeah, that's.
And it's spring.
Oh, stop.
Isn't that just disgusting?
Yeah,
They said it
it's
just, they said they didn't expect it to like blast them, and it did.
That's why you need that stuff to professional.
Oh, yeah. It's totally gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's worth the $5. It's for two. It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I had cats, so it's, no.
Hey, it's flat. My daughter and son-in-law are here from Cape Town. No, they've only been one step. My son came, but he's like a six runner. and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and he was part-time job or something. They're gonna go to my Bible study afterwards. Oh, wow. Yeah, go.
Yeah.
No, they're off.
Oh, yes.
So I'm not running the meeting.
Forrest
No.
will be.
Thank you, thank you. And I saw that email about the protocol training thing. I had like a week and a half of it. Food poisoning thing, I was like, when I saw it, like, that was 10 pounds. It was just a shock. I gained it back straight away. Then a couple days after. Oh, but this is 100. So that's my excuse. Then I thought. No, everyone has their skills. Anyway, I'll get out of your hair. And we have waters here. Thank you. Hey, so can I do the mallet? Van?
If Forrest lets you, you may mail it.
What's
Forrest,
that?
Bev wants to mail it.
Oh, she can mail it away.
Thanks, Forrest.
Oh, Forrest,
Yes.
we need to change the agenda. We have two sets of minutes today. We've got the December 14th of 22 and the January 25th of 23.
Yeah, Caitlin had called and let me know that. So do we want to change that during item number 4? We can change the agenda.
Right, you just say we want to include the approval of the minutes for January 25th.
Okay.
And then everybody will vote. Bob won't be here for us. Eric will be joining remotely if possible. I've not heard from Scott. Bev's lovely presence has already joined us.
And we need 3 for a quorum, correct?
Correct.
Ooh.
Might be a little, I'm hoping Scott shows up.
It's fairly light. And I mean, there's not that much going on.
Right. Well, there are no decisions to be made.
Oh, it's just kind of a.
Right, and if there's no decisions, do we need a quorum?
That's a fair question.
You know, because it's not like, I mean, we're,
It's not, yeah, there's no voting.
right,
Is
and it's,
there?
we just, no, well, yeah, there's no voting. It's just, we're gonna be talking about the Tony's building, you know, mitigation.
Already.
Yeah,
just
we've
a
already approved the
tweak.
demolition.
Yeah.
I'll turn on my video.
One other thing for us, you'll need to sign the minutes for me, but I can send them to you and you can sign electronically if that's all right with you.
Yeah,
would
and
you
we did
rather-
that last time. It worked just fine.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, so,
Okay, I'm going to shut off the recording or turn on the recording.
Sounds good.
So it could just be the two of us.
Or
I think,
sometimes that's a little couple minutes late. And we've still got like 3 minutes, 2 minutes before 4.
right, and I think,
Eric did say he was going to try to attend, but he was out in the field, so he didn't know if he would make it on time.
Yeah, he let us know.
that's
Who's going? Oh. For sure. You move it or do more.
Oh, you're being recorded now, right? We're live.
I'm gonna text Scott to see if he is planning on coming.
I feel pretty important up here. Powerful.
Holding that gavel like a weapon.
Well, it's 4 o'clock. Should we just wait to see if Scott responds to you?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Let's give him a couple minutes.
Can do.
Here's someone approaching. Oh. The beauty of old buildings, you can't sneak in, it's creak.
Yeah, right.
And we're just wondering, we need one more person, but maybe
I
not.
don't count. Because
You count to me. Julie. Yes. Yes.
That's so much fun with the mural talks. Thank you for letting me do that.
Oh my gosh, it was our pleasure. It was great to have you. Yeah, and I think it was really, I mean, I love that you edited some of the
Oh, yeah.
scripts too to make sure we were, had the best history we could provide. Yeah. So Bev, Julie read some scripts as well.
Oh, good.
For-
Did you read scripts? Did for Ben Snipes and Trevitt, and then the landmark and that used to be the rectory.
Yeah.
Building, so. But
Yeah.
they're geniuses because we made all kinds of little oops. And no, we can put it together. So I think they must have spliced all night online.
Well,
A dog's dinner out of it. It was just like, oh. It was fine. It was fun.
oh my gosh, I listened to some of the recordings and you guys sound so good. I mean, they make it so it's just all really smooth and it's fun to hear different voices. Some people's voices are so distinct, and so really, even though you don't know who's talking, if you're the visitor, it's kind of like just gives a little more, I don't know, it's not like Siri telling you a story or some automated
It's the
voice.
local or something.
Yeah, it makes it feel like you're talking to a real local. Yeah, it's personal. But yeah, how is the experience though? Have you ever been recorded like that?
I have.
Oh,
It's been a while. I did theater at uni and
Wow.
in my distant past.
mm-hmm.
This is distant because you know what? I turned 70 in a couple of days. That's why kids came out from Cape Town to
Oh,
celebrate Bev.
oh,
Roger turned 74 today,
Oh, wow.
and I did on the first of the month, so we're
I
getting
did
old.
your birthday, your 60th, I think, your cake.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's right. When we had our we had a joint 120th birthday party when we turned
At
60.
that winery at the,
That's right up there in Dry Hollow.
it's
we go
fun.
way back.
Oh,
Can't remember because it was at a winery.
That's right. That's it. Yeah, it was fun.
there you go.
So if we don't have a third board member, can we still do it? What say you?
Forrest.
I mean, since we're not voting on anything today, I think we could still hold the meeting. I mean, we don't have a quorum, but approving minutes. Mm-hmm. Well, I'll step out really quick and give Scott a call. It's only 3 minutes past, so there's still hope.
Where's Bob?
He's not feeling well.
Yeah.
My daughter and son-in-law are here from Cape Town for the month.
Oh my gosh, for your birthday?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Oh.
really fun. I tell you what, it's kind of exhausting because they're just like, go, go, go. Mr. Aggie and I are like, okay, let's go sit on the porch for 3 hours.
Right.
Now it's like, go for coffee, go for breakfast. Go for
Oh, man. Plus, it just turned hot and that makes a difference to me. I was talking to Jerry Fraser today. We were down weeding in front of the chapel there on Fifth and Union with a group. And he said, when the weather turns, it kind of knocks me back for a while. And I thought, that's me too. And then I get used to it. It's not a deal anymore.
out weeding.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I've been watching Mr. Aggie get the beds ready.
Oh,
I go out when it's time to pick the flowers. and
there you
everything.
go. To make bouquets and whatnot.
Yeah.
Very nice. So you're doing a bed and breakfast now?
3rd year or 4th year.
Yeah. But do you have all 3 houses in a row there?
No, we just have it was.
Where
3
the
lots.
Anzac was?
Yeah, that's where we live and then the trailer
Trailer one,
house. We just
okay.
have that.
Okay, yeah. They look so nice. You really fixed it up.
It's
Scott will be joining via Zoom.
okay.
So yeah, he'll just be on in a couple of minutes here.
Billy, what are you?
Because I'll have the wrong name in front of me. Well, this doesn't mean I have to share the meeting, does it?
I know, I was worried about that. Everyone was worried when my chair was here.
I can't even second if you're making.
Making motions is my strong suit.
Thank you.
It's a little bit warm in here.
Yeah, I'm still in my winter clothing. I haven't up. Well, you're wearing something else.
I know, but I went and took my socks off.
Look at this. I'm also.
See, that's the sign of spring right there.
Get out the sandals. Stefan can still work. I know it goes fast and faster.
Yeah.
All the time. And I think, well, we just did that a few years ago and then 10. you know. Roger, this is our 25th wedding anniversary. And so we're going to go on an Alaska cruise with my daughter and her family.
Oh,
The end of July.
I've never been, but, well,
Yeah.
actually I have been.
To
No.
Alaska.
No, until I've been to Canada. But I have, no,
I feel pretty strongly about the environmental impact of flying around and doing cruises and people just doing that stuff all the time.
but every dog has its day.
I
You know, doing one.
don't feel guilty of that. Yeah, we'll have a really nice time.
This is gonna be an interesting meeting. These 2 Zooms and it's just.
Two Zooms and-
and back.
So you'll chair it probably, right?
No, the horse is gonna chair. I think
Oh,
he's
he's
vice
the-
president.
Okay, that's right.
I was a bit worried. 'cause
Look at him smile. He's looking forward to it.
Ben's gonna do the hammering for me. I'll just do the talking.
Oh, all right.
Really waiting for Scott to appear.
Yeah, Scott will be joining here shortly.
Alan and Bev. Mr. A's gonna be spying on me. And he
Yes.
goes, yeah, it wasn't that bad, Bev. Afterwards. My cheerleader. Okay. Oh, it says mirror. Mirror on mine.
That's to remind the person who's sitting here.
Who they
actually
are.
it. He does a lot of things.
So it looked pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I read through it. I thought I wasn't going to make it on time. I was on the line with the bank And, you're sixth in line. Now you're fourth in line. You hate to give up if you
I
get
know.
close. But anyway, I made it.
Turned off his camera.
Hmm. But he can see you.
I think so. There's his little picture.
Oh, well, right there it is.
Hello, Scott.
Greetings. Thank you for giving me a call.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So I sent Paula an email to confirm which email to use.
Okay, we'll make note of that for next time.
Perfect. Thank you.
I think this is all the commissioners that will be attending today.
All right, well then, I'll call this meeting to order. Thank you, Bev.
You're welcome.
Paula, would you please do a roll call?
Bev Aggie,
Present.
first Ercole,
Here.
Eric Gleason is absent, Bob McNary is absent, Scott Randall is absent, Julie Reynolds here, Scott Stevenson.
Present.
Bev, since you're the member that has a flag in front of her, would you please lead us for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
With liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much for that, Bev. For the approval of the agenda, I would like to make a modification to the agenda to add on approval of minutes for January 25th, 2023, in addition to the December 14 minutes. I would take a motion for that approval.
I move that we approve the change in the agenda as per what he said. Or said.
Scott, I'll need a second.
I second the motion.
Thank you for that. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. So the agenda has been modified. All right, so then on to the minutes. Did anyone have any questions, concerns, or want to discuss the minutes for December 14, 2022? Okay, hearing none. How about for the minutes concerning January 25th, 2023? Any comments, questions, concerns?
Nope.
All right, hearing none, I would like to accept the motion at this time for approval of both the December 14, 2022 and the January 25th, 2023 minutes.
I move that we accept both of those minutes, the 14th and the, I didn't get the dates.
January
January
25th, not a
25th.
problem.
There we go.
Scott, would you please second?
I second that motion.
Thank you very much. Those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Did we get your vote, Scott?
And Scott, you're muted.
Thank you. Aye.
Thank you, Scott. Public comment. I can't see the public to see if there's anyone there. Is anyone from the public in the audience wanting to speak tonight?
There's no one here.
Okay, that's what I assumed. Okay, we have a presentation from Joshua Chandler now for the Urban Renewal Manager.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Joshua Chandler, Community Development Director and the Columbia Gateway Urban Renewal Manager. Thank you for having me this afternoon. I want to take some time to provide an update regarding two agency projects that are occurring in the Dalles Commercial Historic District downtown. These projects include the Tony's Building property redevelopment and the First Street project. I've provided a brief update or a briefing included in the packet, and I will present a little bit on them and then be available to answer any questions that you may have. The first project is the Tony's Building property. I think everybody's pretty familiar with this property. It's located at the corner of East 2nd and Federal Street. This building was first developed in the 1800s. It was destroyed by a fire, the fire of 1891. The main building was rebuilt the following year, has been extensively remodeled over the years, even incorporating an adjacent building and storefront in the 70s. It's housed many different businesses over the years, most notably Tony's Town and Country from 1977 to 2016. Both buildings are listed as historic non-contributing, but they are, historic and due to the fact that they're located in the downtown zone. So the Urban Renewal Agency purchased the property in 2016. The hope was to redevelop a large portion of our downtown core, multiple plans, including demolition, as well as the reuse of the building have been considered. However, various factors have led to abandoning these plans. While reviewing each of these plans or, the proposals that have come in front of us, various building inspections and surveys have been conducted, which highlighted the high cost of needed building repairs, as well as an inventory of a substantial amount of hazardous material throughout the property. In early 2021, the agency directed staff to pursue steps necessary for demolition in the hopes of eventually creating a mixed-use shovel-ready site downtown. In August 2021, the HLC unanimously approved the agency's request for this demolition. As conditioned with the HLC approval, the agency will be performing an archaeological assessment following demolition in coordination with the state archaeologist. After an extended period of research and preparation over the past 2 years, agency staff issued an invitation to bid solicitation for the hazardous material abatement and demolition. We did that March 31st. The bid is currently open. We had a mandatory site visit last week, and there were about 10 to 12 interested contractors looking to take on the work. So pretty excited there. The reason really between the gap in when it was originally approved, the 2-year gap, we were actually hoping to secure some funding with Business Oregon. There's a Brownfields grant. And we worked with Business Oregon for a good 18 months. And then unfortunately, last minute, we were told we were actually ineligible after all the work that we put into it. So after hearing that news, it was full speed ahead and we were able to put the invitation to bid out. So we're excited to see that moving forward. We will be awarding a successful bidder at our June urban renewal meeting. The next project just wanted to touch on is the First Street project. First Street project was a project that was really started in 2006, 2008. 2008, the agency was awarded a $1.6 million federal grant for what was known as the Downtown Riverfront Connection Project, quite an elaborate project. Included at that time an underpass on Washington Street that would connect to the riverfront. It's been downsized over the years, and it does include the complete rebuild of First Street between Union and Madison streets, adding upgraded sidewalks, ADA ramps, new utilities, asphalt and street furniture. The project was administered by ODOT with project design provided by KPFF Consulting Engineers. And it too has experienced many modifications and setbacks over this period of time. Just last year in 2022, the city and ODOT mutually agreed to terminate our partnership due to many forecasted delays in the project. And in doing so, the termination actually resulted in a cost savings of $940,000. So by doing it without ODOT, we saved a substantial amount of money and time. So it was really kind of a win-win for the agency and the city. After terminating this contract, we then entered into a contract solely with the designing firm, KPFF Engineers. We entered into that a new contract in 2023, earlier this year, with a revised scope. And this project was started in March 2023, just this last month. And it's set to this final step, even though we're very close and all the work that we've done, it's still a 2-year process to really finalize construction plans and get everything ready to go to construction. One of the biggest delays we have is coordination that is required with the railroad. They anticipate that coordinating with the railroad on a land swap ultimately is what we have to do. That's an 18-month project process. It's a lot of waiting, but exciting that even in just with the project starting last month, we already have the wheels rolling, and ODOT, not ODOT, excuse me, the railroad is already working with our consultant very closely. So it's, it's on the top priority for them. So that's good to know. And with that, yeah, I am more than happy to answer any questions on either of those projects.
So Joshua, so construction is expected to begin in 2025 then?
What's that?
Construction is expected to begin in 2025 for the First Street project then?
Yeah, probably 2025. I'm guessing, after the work is complete for the design plans, the design and construction plans, we would have to go out for bid. So there's a process in doing that. So hopefully we can get right on it and we don't miss the construction window of 2025, but most likely construction will be happening 25, 26.
Thank you very much. Did any of the committee members have any questions for Joshua?
I have a question. I remember a meeting probably years ago where someone who lived across the street from Tony's in an upper building was very concerned about dust and that kind of thing. Is that still an issue for people? Is there going to be mitigation of some kind, or is that?
Yeah, the mitigation really is at this point wetting down the dust. That's the biggest thing. Our hope was to have the work being done in the winter months, the damp months, but we've missed that window yet again. As I mentioned, we waited and waited for a grant to come through with Business Oregon. And unfortunately, like I said, we had the rug pulled out from underneath us. It was really unfortunate. So we blew through 2 potential windows to do that work. So we do know about the concern. And I do know that property, I spoke to another individual who works in the building, and I think there has been discussions with the new property owners on trying to seal the windows a little bit better. I think when the project happened to rehab that building just 5 or 6 years ago, from what I'm hearing, the reinstallation of the windows, they didn't seal it as good as they could. So there has been, dust and smoke issues. A couple of years ago when we had the big fires, there was the units had a lot of smoke in them, just like the outside, because there's just way too many cracks around the windows. So hopefully that will be addressed. But yeah, as far as with what we can do to mitigate it will be the dampening of dust.
I just remembered someone had been pretty upset about it.
Yep, yeah, it is a concern. It is a concern. I believe that individual son possibly has some respiratory issues.
Any further questions from committee members? Okay, hearing none, that will conclude the presentation. Thank you very much, Joshua.
Great, thank you.
Next up on the agenda, we have a discussion item regarding the Tony Building and its mitigation. I believe, Caitlin, you have something prepared for that?
Yeah. So before I get started sharing my screen here, Josh kind of summarized that the Historic Landmark Commission approved the demolition of the Tony's building in July of 2021. As part of the conditions of approval, the Urban Renewal Agency was required to do all necessary archaeological assessments for the basements with any found artifacts or to review any found artifacts. So the agency notified the State Historic Preservation Office, notified SHPO, and SHPO recommended that mitigation of any adverse impact should be recognized. So what mitigation can mean? Mitigation should be relevant to the affected property, informative, and be appropriate for the scale of the subject project or the building that will be demolished. So I put together a little presentation here of some options. So this is the Tony's building, just as a little reminder. So there's these are just some ideas for mitigation. I'm open, we're open to hearing suggestions, or if we find that no mitigation is required, that's an option too here. This is really a discussion and staff is looking for direction from the commission in order to, go forward confidently. So some mitigation options is like a sidewalk stamp. So this could be in front of where the Tony's building stood. Typically sidewalk stamps represent like the company that put in the sidewalk, or I've seen old street names be stamped into the sidewalk, but a sidewalk stamp of some sort could be utilized. We have a ton of historic plaques here in the Dalles. So this City Hall plaque is right on City Hall's front face, or we could, there's an interpretive panel that we could install either on the sidewalk that abuts the property. It could be an informative web page. So basically this would be on the City of the Dalles website or another appropriate agency's website, and illustrating and detailing what was at the what was a Tony's building, and could have some old pictures on there and just a description of the history. And a documentation is a recommended mitigation option. However, we already have this building documented. It's locally, it's in the historic district. So it has a, physical description and a description of the historical data that we have. It is historic non-contributing, but it does give that description and how it's changed over time. Or an option is no mitigation. We could find that, we do have it documented, and no further mitigation is required to be installed. I'm open to hearing any ideas that you guys have, or maybe some of these options speak to you already, but that kind of concludes my presentation here.
Thank you for that, Caitlin.
Yeah, yeah, and
Uh,
this is just a discussion too, so feel free to, you don't have to make a decision.
The little sign that has this, a little bit of copy there, kind of a
Yeah, I like that.
homage to the, I mean, the sidewalk stamp something, oh, sorry. So I think the sign would be nice, and so you would just word like a little paragraph about the history.
It could be, yeah. Yeah, so like a
Oh, go ahead.
The girls like that one.
like the historical sign, kind of like their historic plaques.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
I don't know if a building plaque would work because we don't necessarily know what's going to be going there in the future, but I do agree maybe a sidewalk sign, sidewalk stamp. Those would be ideal. Isn't there like a sign that gives you town information or information about the building that's like right next to Route 30, like the corner of it? I think it shows a picture of like the old buildings and gives you a little bit of information about it. And it's a streets like on the sidewalk and it's standing. I think something like that would, if we can match that, I think that would look really nice.
You said this sign was on the corner near Route 30?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, the bar, not that actual Route 30.
So sorry, kind of cutting out a little bit, but what I'm hearing is that there is a sign kind of near Route 30 of a previously demolished building in that area.
I think it just has basically an old photograph or two of what the streetscape used to look like and tells you what was there, or possibly some information about the buildings. But I think something like that would be ideal because we don't know what kind of building's going to be in the Tony's space, if there is going to be a building or what it might be look like. So something like an interpretive sign that's on the sidewalk for people walking around to look at, I think that would be more beneficial in addition to the documentation that we have.
That's a great point.
If we could try to match up, like, I don't know who made that sign that's at that corner, but if we could try to match it to make them look uniform, I think that would even be more than stellar.
On the sidewalk? You look
you-
down? Do you look
the-
down at the sign?
The one Forrest is describing, is it on the sidewalk?
No, it's just like it's all a pole that has a big sign that's attached to it. It's like when you walk by it, you're like, oh, stop and read it right in front of you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe the ones that are shields, like are on the historic buildings, those are actually because the building's still there.
Yeah, we have one in front of Ben Snipes, that exact sign, so. It's a good idea. Forrest's idea was good. I think any of those would work.
Yeah, it just seemed to me because that's already like a historic signage that's not a plaque on the historic building. So it's like, well, if they're giving historical information on a little sign already on the street, why not just match that and keep the town looking uniform?
I'm going to try to pull it up too on Google Maps here so we can get a better idea.
Smart,
Just a
smart
moment.
move.
Yeah.
And this is Josh again. One idea, I to your point earlier, we don't know what building, if any building is going to be constructed there. But if we're talking one of the typical plaques that we have around town, I would imagine any building design could accommodate a sign, that relatively small sign on the side of the building. The new building, if it is one, we'll have to go through HLC approval for full design of the new building. So it could be at that time that plaque that maybe the HLC just requires or conditions at that time that there is an area set aside where a plaque could be placed on the side of the building. I mean, because really these, the plaques are what, 18 by 12 inches, maybe relatively small. And I would imagine that there is enough space on the side of a building that could accommodate that. But just a thought.
That's it.
And I believe this is the freestanding sign that you're referencing, Forrest, correct?
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, and it kind of shows what the streets used to look like with the neon signs and gives you a little bit of historical information.
It's nice. Pretty good. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, so what I'm hearing here is that, an informative sign or a sidewalk stamp could be approved, could be, could be appropriate for this mitigation of the Tony's building, correct?
Or wait till the building's done. If there is a building that takes that spot and then address it then, it would happen then, right?
Correct. Yeah. So it would go to the Historic Landmarks Commission once, we have plans for development.
So can you clarify the time frame of this? So the building gets torn down and then this mitigation would happen? Is that right?
You want to?
Yeah, I can comment on that. So ultimately, when SHPO was notified that the building was going to come down, they had very little response, very little comment on it. As we touched on, the building has gone through so many drastic changes over the years that it's by itself, it is not a historic building, but it is historic due to the fact that it's in the district. And really what their comment back to us was ultimately create some type of mitigation plan and have that ultimately in place before the building comes down. So really, at this point, we're really just kind of looking for a consensus or some idea direction of where the commission would like to go with it. But as far as placing the plaque, it wouldn't be until the building, a new building's constructed, or if it becomes any kind of public space, that would be addressed at that time. So the actual installation would probably be a while from now, but it's just a matter of kind of getting that consensus of the commission on what they feel is necessary to mitigate, ultimately, to remember the building, if you choose to.
We have, if we're doing a big sign like Forrest described, it seems like we'd want the earliest picture of the original building because it's been morphed so many times. We don't want to remember the last one. You know what I mean? You got a great big, it's like, that looks pretty modern.
You don't want to
It's
remember
like
Tony's?
Well, we remember Tony's fondly, everyone does, but when you're looking for a history plaque,
Mhm.
it's like maybe a smaller, like the sidewalk patch would be enough, stamp would be enough. I don't know. I didn't mean to, sorry to anyone that's listening that loved Tony's, because I did too. I still have some boots or something from there. But you know what I mean? That's a big deal for a building it's gone through so many changes when you're gonna like honor the history.
Right. Well,
Pictures of that early one, or was it ever very significant?
I could take a look to see if I could find some early pictures. It's not included with the our historic district, like that, a picture of it's when it's old. I can look up when it was, I think it was the early 1900s when there was, or like 1920s, that it was heavily modified, and then again in the 60s.
We have so many buildings in the 1860s and in that era that seem to be the real crowd pleasers. You know what I mean?
Right.
So-
Burned in 1891, in the 1891 fire, there must have been, whatever was there before.
Yeah, I could look into older photos of the Tonys for sure.
Yeah, I think
Um,
after the fire, I think became a saloon, I believe, and then like an auto dealership. But I think there was a saloon or bar there after the fire.
So I have okay. Oh, yep. Good memory, Forrest. So by 1900, the First National Bank occupied the building as well as an agricultural implements and saloon. That's still so around 1900s, it was a saloon. So that's
significant because there were like quite a few saloons in the Dalles, and that's what we're kind of famous for.
well, there you go.
Coming back too.
Yeah.
And then in the 1926, it was an auto sales and auto repair shop. Yeah. So It was extensively remodeled, most likely in the 1970s, and incorporated the adjacent building into its new design. That's what it says per the historical data for this building. But to Bev's point, I think that is a great comment, right? What matches the scale? What like the scale impact of this building demolition to the mitigation effort?
Especially if it's sitting there for like 5-7 years before anything starts, it kind of highlights that, come on, get it started already.
Right.
Maybe we can put the stamp or the thing on, like you said, once the building's done. And that would be addressed, wouldn't it?
Correct.
Happen. So this isn't a real cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Okay.
In no style, the style, Josh just passed me the historic designation page, and the style states that it's altered. So there's no,
That's not it. So maybe that, I don't know, what do you think, Forrest? Maybe just a stamp on the sidewalk. If you're going to do something right now, that'd be or just wait. Would be my
If we
vote.
do a stamp on the sidewalk, I would like to have a webpage or something. So like, Tony's building, the Dow, 1900, whatever the year was that it's built, and then maybe going able to Google search that and finding that on the internet somewhere and finding some relevant information. I think that would also really work.
That's a good idea.
So, just to clarify, there doesn't have to be a decision until the demolition starts, and we're at the bidding process point right now for that.
that's correct.
So I would think we have quite a bit of time to decide.
I mean, you will have a final determination once you have the building, go for historic review. However, staff is looking for, direction on how we should mitigate, or if there'll be mitigated or mitigation required for this demolition, per SHPO's recommendation.
Yeah, ultimately SHPO kind of put it in the hands of the HLC to decide. And really it can be, even if we, let them know that the idea is, we can present maybe more detail at a later date when we really need a decision from you, maybe get a consensus at that time. But I mean, sounds like we're, the options of a stamp or a plaque or a page on the website. I mean, those right there, I think are probably enough to let them know that you are interested in seeing something. And that's probably enough for
Would it
now.
help you for us to make a decision on one of those three today? Will it make with your negotiations with the SHPO and
Not really. They've been pretty informal about this building. In all honesty, they just want it's been said to us that it's best practice to have somewhat of a decision before the building comes down. So they're not holding our feet to the fire by any means for any type of decision. So just wanted to throw that out there. And we really wanted to get it out in front of you to just kind of let you think about what types of mitigation you'd like to see, if any, to continue to throw out that one out there, due to the fact that it's not a significant building, other than I think probably the most significance the building has truly is Tony's Town and Country. I mean, it was a business for a very long, 49 years, 50 years it was in business. Everybody remembers Tony's. So, yeah, and it's really just no need to make an ultimate decision tonight. Just, I guess the biggest thing for us would you like to see some type of mitigation or nothing? I think would be the biggest decision for today.
So it sounds like we need to make a motion for mitigation.
I think it's your turn, Scott.
I would like to make a motion for mitigation for the Tony's building. Anything else?
I'll second that motion.
Good.
All those in favor of mitigation for the Tony's building, say aye. Aye.
Aye. Come on. Scott.
Scott.
Frozen.
Hi.
Thank you very much. So yeah, whatever it is, we want a little something to remember Tony's building by. Moving on, the next item on our agenda, staff comments. Caitlin, would you like to tell us about the Pioneer Cemetery?
Yes. So we have submitted a grant for the Pioneer Cemetery. Bob McNary and I worked on it together in identifying appropriate trails in the cemetery that needed to be resurfaced with bark chips or and
Mulch.
established again, right? Because a lot of the trails within the Pioneer Cemetery have been degraded over time, right? I think, the last time it was bark chipped seemed to be maybe around 2018. And so it's high time to reestablish some of those trails. And we have a Pioneer Cemetery preservation management plan. And so that made it really easy for staff to apply what has already been identified in the preservation plan and to make a roadmap of what to do with the trails and where the trails are located, because a map is provided with that preservation plan. So we submitted a grant and it passed technical review. So that means that we have everything they need in order to make a determination. And then they will be reviewing it live streamed on May 11th. So if you are so interested to hear what they have to say about my grant writing skills, you can tune in. So I'll be updating you guys next meeting and let you know if we receive that grant or not. Fingers crossed.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Were there any questions about that from the committee members?
No, it sounds well done, Caitlin.
Woo.
And
Thank you
Bob.
very much. Caitlin, would you like to discuss the walking tour update?
I would. So I want to start off with a huge thank you to Julie Reynolds and Bev Agee and Alan Agee as well for reading some scripts for us for the walking tour app. So we've hosted some recordings of the histories of each of the buildings and murals downtown, and they are sounding really great. Also, a shout out to Scott Stevenson. He's been so helpful during this whole process, really making all of the recording sessions go seamlessly with our consultant. So those recordings are being finished up. I've heard a couple of them and they sound very well done. And so I'm looking forward to getting the walking tour up and running, and we're hoping to have most of it finished by the end of May, meaning that the walking tour will be up and running. Also keep an eye out for walking tour signage. There is one on City Hall. So if you don't have the AutoCast app downloaded yet, I would recommend that you give it a download, and it will be updated with the recordings shortly. I don't have an exact date for that, but I'll definitely let you know and keep you all updated.
What was
Any
the name of the app for
It's
that?
AutoCast.
AutoCast?
Yeah.
You spell it?
OTTOCAST. Oh no. OTO. Pardon.
Yeah, just one T.
One T. Thank you, Scott.
So
Were
once
there
you
any
download that
questions?
app on your phone or whatever device, then it will just call up for you based on your location, the walking tour. So the walking tour is already live. What we're doing now is that we're expanding the walking tour. So that was part of that SHPO grant that Don Hurt had started, and Caitlin is really working hard to keep that going. So really appreciate everything that Caitlin's put forward with that. Sometimes it's hard to come into a project kind of midstream, and she's done a great job.
Thanks, Scott. Well, that concludes my staff comments. Is there any questions?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, and moving right along. Our next item is the commissioner comments. So any comments from Bev or Scott?
Commissioners' comments. Oh,
I was just gonna mention doing that, but you've already mentioned the recording. No, I don't have anything.
Thank you. Scott, how about you?
No comments.
All right, well, I think that's about it then, because I don't have anything to report or mention. So next item on, oh, Julie, did you have anything to mention?
about Fort Dalles Museum, it was good news from last night, I guess. Is that when the city council met or the night before?
Monday.
Monday, that it looks like the cruise ships are going to be coming back, and that's a huge deal for us and our ability, you know, the visitors and so forth. That's good news for us.
Good.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it.
I did think of one thing, it's not that important, but Mr. Eggy finally got the matching funds to do that sidewalk on the other side of St. Peter's Landmark. And he's been working on that thing for years. It just never quite
Yay.
made the cut, and finally, every dog has his day. And so we have it, and the construction, everything's lined up. So they're gonna, and it's a mess. It's just, you know, bits of broken concrete. It was an accident waiting to happen, so. Yeah, so
Alright.
that was good news.
That's
From
great.
Mr. Eggy.
Where did you get the funding?
You know, you'd have to ask Mr. Eggy. It was something to do with the city. It might have been Google money or something. He
Oh.
was doing that. I just watched from the sideline. It was finally over. So I was like,
Oh.
Yeah, we call it the
Awesome.
50/50 sidewalk program.
Oh, cool. Well,
Excellent.
congratulations. That's great.
Yeah, that's wonderful news. All right, if there are no further comments, then we're going to move on to the next item. Seeing none, we're moving on to adjournment. So thank you everyone for the meeting and have a wonderful day. Thank you for your time.
can I do this?
Do it, please.
There you go.
Oh,
Right. You only do it once, huh?
yeah,
Unless it's noisy.
I wanted to feel important.
yeah. I didn't quite hear it, Bev. Can you whack it harder?
Can you come in in person and I'll give you a demonstration, Scott?
All right, all right. You're going for the real dynamic sound.
What happened?
Thank you, everyone.